Hello there and welcome to 3Spoonies. We're your hosts, Karen and Joe. Claire has an appointment today. This is episode number 46 and we're discussing better customer service for disabled people. Join us as we dive in.
Are you drowning in admin? Struggling to keep up with emails, invoices, social media, or the endless to-do list that comes with running a business? Then it's time to call in Vicky Admin Fairy, an award-winning virtual assistant who brings order to admin chaos. Vicky works with all entrepreneurs, regardless of their background or abilities, to take care of the time-consuming tasks that slow you down. Whether it's managing emails, sorting financial admin, handling social media, chasing late payments, the list is endless. She saves business owners hours every week, reducing stress and ensuring everything runs smoothly. With 25 years of experience, a flexible, client-focused approach, and a reputation for going above and beyond, Vicky adapts to your needs, making your business more efficient so you can focus on what you do best. And the best part? You'll have more free time to grow your business, boost profits, or just enjoy life without admin headaches. Want to free up your time and get your business running more smoothly? Visit www.vickyadminfairy.co.uk or email hello@vickyadminfairy.co.uk to find out how Vicky can help you.
Hello, I'm Karen from Pony.
And I'm Joe from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
And Claire has an appointment she can't wriggle out of. But together we are 3Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons and sometimes annoying appointments. So this week we are going to be talking about better customer service for disabled people because sometimes it can be a wee bit lacking. So this week we are joined by the lovely and indeed splendid Gavin Neate. Hello.
Hello, lovely and splendid. What can I say? Yeah, I'm blushing.
Well, didn't want to put too much pressure on, but it's like start as we mean to go on, I feel. So please do tell us a bit about you and what you do.
Oh my word, that is a brilliant opening question. Stop me as soon as I've gone on too long because I get so passionate about this stuff that as soon as I get to a point where you go, oh my word, we need to ask more questions. Okay, right. I guess a little bit of background. My name's Gavin. I am, goodness me, 57 next month, 2 months from now. I've got a bit of a grey beard. Grey is definitely the colour these days. For 18 years, I was a guide dog mobility instructor. My job was training people how to use guide dogs. And I did that, absolutely loved it in the UK, Guide Dogs to the Blind, mainly in Scotland, but I also worked in Bournemouth, Brighton for 12 months. And I did some work abroad in Croatia and traveled extensively going to conferences to just look at what was happening around the world as far as guide dog mobility and visual impairment, mobility, long cane and stuff was concerned. Anyway, it was 18 years, absolutely loved it and had every intention when I joined. I did my 3-year apprenticeship, every intention to stay there for the rest of my career. I was over the moon, best job in the world, loved it. But then something really quite weird happened and I was like, oh my God, there's something else I could be doing. So I don't know if that's as much of a background, but I know I've got lots to talk about.
That's fine. We don't want to give too many spoilers at the beginning. You lose the sense of anticipation. Right, I'm just going to pass over to Joe for questions now. Whoosh.
I mean, I want my first question to go, yes! No, I'm not. What was the best thing about working with guide dogs?
It is a great question and probably surprising answer. Before I was with guide dogs, I had done 10 years as a military police dog handler with the RAF. So I was massively into dog training, absolutely loved it. And I just thought at the end of my career with the RAF, I was like, well, what job could I do that was going to maintain the work with animals that I was able to use my skills, but also had a little bit more of a social benefit, something that a lot of people leaving the Air Force, and I was a police dog handler, they will go into civilian police or they become prison wardens and stuff like that. But I was like, no, I need to do something more social. And I was based at RAF Lucas at the time, and about 15 miles up the road was RAF Forther Guide Dog Training School. So I used to go and do voluntary work up there and help people when they were doing visits around the kennels with the fundraising team. And I eventually started to learn a little bit more about the organization and found out there was a dog training role within guide dogs. And beyond that, there was a guide dog mobility instructor role. The guide dog mobility instructor role was the person who took the dog once it had been trained to a certain level, then did the last bit of training, matched it with a person who was looking for a dog, and then trained the two together, and then at the end of the training said goodbye and watched them go off down the road, and then saw them on a regular basis after that to make sure everything was going well. And that job was like, oh my word, that's the dream job. When I applied to be a dog trainer, the team at Guide Dogs the Blind said, no, we'd really like you to be a GDMI, or at least we'd like you to apply to become a guide dog mobility instructor. So I applied for it, and out of 900 applicants, they were giving it to 2, didn't take 2, just took 1, and that 1 was me. So out of 900, only 1 got a job, and it was me. So I was just like, this is the best job in the world. Trained for 3 years, and as I say, just the best job. Loved it. And there's nobody better than when you go into a room and somebody says, what do you do for a living? And you say, work for Guide Dogs for the Blind, training guide dogs. And people go, wow. But, and I'll say this, Joe.
Imagine that one.
I really enjoyed working with the dogs, but it was the people that actually engaged me more. Because on the day that you saw the person going off into the world with their guide dog, not looking back, the dog wasn't interested in me. I got a massive buzz out of it. So my attachment to the dogs got less and less, and my attachment to the role got greater and greater.
So you took part-trained dogs and went, right, I'm going to make this dog perfect for this person.
Yeah. And I took all the credit as well. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I would as well.
No. But the dog has to be very specifically trained. So if a person's going into a city centre all the time, the dog has to be very, very good in city centre. It has to be matched well as well. The dog needs to be the right speed. The dog needs to have the right temperament. The dog needs to have the skills where the owner can actually get the best from the dog. So you're looking for a specific skill set within the owner. So the matching process is just massively important. Once you've handed the dog over, you're then trying to get further and further away from them until you're not there. So the first day, you're kind of on their shoulder and you're saying, oh, let the dog know to sit, let the dog know to lie down, praise the dog, that kind of stuff. And then towards the end of the training, you're like 15 foot away and you're waiting till the end of the walk. And then you're saying, right, how do you think that went? Is there anything you could do better? What sort of stuff could you do next time? Until eventually they're on their own and you're just feeling quite warm and cuddly about the whole thing because it's cool.
Yes, I did that.
Oh, brilliant.
I think the whole process is amazing. Someone I know used to taking guide dogs who didn't quite make it. There's one who got quite a long way into the process and then they found out he was terrified of double-decker buses.
Yeah. So a lot of people would call them rejects. And I was like, no. They need better than that. So I used to call them SPDs. I would call them specialist pet dogs.
Oh,
yeah, that works.
A specialist pet dog. Just don't take me on the bus.
yeah, that's where it all went wrong.
All right. So after you'd left that, what did you do next? Well, obviously that told you quite a bit about like customer service and things. But go on, what did you do next?
Well, there was no next. I started doing it before I left Guide Dogs. So just to sort of give you a bit of background, back in I guess 2003, after I'd been with Guide Dogs for 6 years, somebody said, and this will be hard for you both because you're hell of a lot younger than me. Somebody said, we're looking at this new thing called GPS. And I was like, oh, wow, GPS, well, that could be used by visually impaired people and they could know where they were. But of course, it was massive bits of kit. It was like a laptop on your side and it was like microphones and speakers and GPS signals. Anyway, I got involved in that project and I was quite interested in how technology was being used by disabled people. And indeed, in 2005, 2006, 2007, somebody turned up to train with a guide dog and they had a mobile phone, and the mobile phone was Apple and it had voiceover on it and the phone was talking to them. And then they started telling other people on the class about the technology they were using. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. My clients are teaching each other about technology. And then I was learning about the technology from them. So I started doing technology courses within my guide dog training classes, or rather, I was just giving people time to speak amongst themselves, and I was learning at the same time. And then I started thinking, I wonder if a mobile phone could do this. I wonder if I could fix that problem with a mobile phone. And the first thing I did, this was 2012, 2010 probably when I first started thinking about it, and 2012 when I acted on it, I managed to press the button at a pedestrian crossing with my mobile phone. So I stood next to the pedestrian crossing and my mobile phone pressed the button. Now, for people who are in wheelchairs or people with a walking aid or people who just don't like pressing buttons, or for visually impaired people who can't find a button, pressing a button from your mobile phone is quite an impressive thing to be able to do. And I proved that with some wheelchair users. They were like, oh my God, I just walked up to this pedestrian crossing or wheeled up to this crossing and my phone did all the work for me. And I invented that in 2012. Nobody had ever done it before. I patented it all while I was with Guide Dogs for the Blind, and had it as a sort of separate business running in the background. I wasn't making any money from it. I was actually spending all my savings on it, eventually selling my house to put the money into the actual company. But in 2012, started installing the solution into some pedestrian crossings. And then we eventually managed to put it in 2 towns in Scotland where all of the pedestrian crossings were operated by smartphones, which nobody had ever done in the world before. But, and this is the big but, I had absolutely no idea how to run a company. I thought if I invented something, the world would go, wow, that's amazing. But everybody loves a disruptor like Uber and Airbnb and all these other Netflix and people like that, unless you're being disrupted. And it turned out the traffic industry wasn't really into being disrupted by some Johnny-come-lately guide dog mobility instructor who happened to think that here was a good idea. So by 2015, I couldn't do it anymore. I just ran out of money.
So what did you do then?
So I left guide dogs because I realized that, well, I had a couple of other ideas. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to leave guide dogs in order to do this full time, which was a nightmare because it was 18 years of pure joy. I loved it, as I've said. But the other idea had come from the pedestrian crossings. If you're approaching a pedestrian crossing and your mobile phone presses the button at the crossing, well, actually, that's your phone interacting with your environment. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if I was walking up to a building and just by getting close to the building, my phone on my behalf interacted with the people inside the building? Wouldn't it be cool if I, as a disabled person, talking from the disabled person's perspective, wouldn't it be cool if I could communicate with people before I arrived somewhere? Now, this was part of my training. When I was training somebody with a guide dog, where I would run ahead of my client and I would talk to the staff member before they arrived. Because invariably, if I waited until my client arrived, they would either talk to me or they would get it wrong. And then I would end up having to tell them later that they could do it better next time if they did this and this. So I thought, well, if I run ahead, I can talk to them and I can let them know what I need them to do, because then they'll feel much more comfortable giving better customer service. My client will feel brilliant about getting good customer service, and then they'll feel good about coming back to that particular venue. But of course, I realized I couldn't run ahead of every person, and it would be impossible for me to do that for 16.2 million disabled people, 1.3 billion worldwide. It's just impossible to do. But I realized, because of all the work I'd done with mobile phones, actually a disabled person could communicate directly with a customer service team. And if that disabled person already had a profile in a system, that could trigger training specific to my needs as a disabled person, but I could also let them know what I wanted to do when I arrived. I want to buy a new pair of trousers. I want to buy a new laptop. I want to, I've got a dental appointment at 2:00, but I'm going to get here before so that I can take some tablets and go to the toilet and drink some water. So you could actually say what you wanted to do beforehand. And remarkably, and this is the bit that I just could not understand, nobody had ever done it before. I was the first.
That's a bit nuts. It's like when you need accessibility help and access help on like trains and things. That's booked beforehand or it's not happening.
Yeah. So the whole booking thing, I was like, well, Yeah, you want to be able to just turn up and do stuff. And I totally get that. But there are certain places where booking is actually really important. Dental practice, you're going to book in advance. Restaurant, you're probably going to phone up and book. Yeah, you would like to be able to walk through the door, and that's absolutely cool. And I think there are many cafes where you will walk through the door. But for so many things, theatre tickets, cinemas, we book in advance anyway. So why not, through that booking process, also automatically let them know how they can help me better? And I think that was the big epiphany moment for me. It was for the people who don't mind doing that or want to do that, I want to be able to provide that service. And there are lots of people who are so anxious that they won't even leave home because they're worried about being discriminated against when they get somewhere. I think what we find is that the vast majority of disabled people that we see in the world are the tip of the iceberg. They're the people that are the most confident and independent and capable of dealing with all of the things that happen to them when it happens. It's tough, but they deal with it. There are plenty of people out there, probably hundreds of thousands, who would go out if they felt more comfortable and confident about arriving somewhere.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. It can be really intimidating, especially if you don't know what kind of reception you're getting. You don't know if it's going to cause a problem, and people just don't want to.
Oh, like, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was just saying that I know, like, I love it if someone will come up to me and say, if there's handouts, can I have them on yellow paper? I need it this font size. I love that. That helps me plan. But people are like, am I being difficult? And it's like, no, that's what you need. That's not being unreasonable. You know, some people are lucky enough to not have to state their needs, and you know, that's great. But if you've clearly said, I need, or I would prefer XYZ, because sometimes it's preference as well, that's helpful, especially in advance. Like, I can put that in place. You're happy, I'm happy. Better experience for everyone, really.
And it's a choice. You don't have to do it, but if you choose to do it and it's available, then it's up to you. Because everything, ultimately, I think society has looked at independence as meaning, or at least people involved in solutions have thought that independence meant do it on your own. Whereas actually independence is about choice. Choose to do it on your own, choose to be helped. I don't have to walk everywhere. I can choose to drive or take the bus or get a train or a taxi. That's about choice. It's independent. It's choice of independence, or independence choice. I think that too many people coming up with solutions are saying disabled people should just do it on their own. That's what they want. They want to be completely independent without any support. And you see it at train stations. We're getting rid of all the support because you can just do it through your mobile phone, or you can do it through the ticket machine when you get here. Well, actually, I want help today. I don't want help tomorrow, or it's the first time I'm doing this route. Wouldn't it be cool if you could help me on this occasion, because then I'll feel more comfortable doing it on my own? But all the solutions are all about removing the help. And apart from that, this is all about giving help if you want it.
Yeah. I mean, we've all had that discussion. We're just like the classic touching somebody's wheelchair. And it's like, absolutely do not do it. Ask if they want help. Ask if they need it. And you know, at that point, yeah, sure. But give them the choice, not just do it.
And I think there's a big problem here, and I've heard this because I do so many talks like this. A lot of the staff members that you meet don't necessarily know what the right thing to do is. And in the moment, they're a little bit like a rabbit in headlights. And invariably, when you are under pressure, you do something wrong. You say the wrong thing, or you do the wrong thing. And it might be that you don't perceive it as the wrong thing, but the disabled person does. So we all know that better trained people give better customer service. But what we assume is that if you train somebody 2 years before, that they're going to remember that 2 years later when they suddenly meet somebody who needs you to put that into practice. How many of us were taught French at school who can now no longer speak a word of French? And it's because we weren't practicing it on a regular basis. It's the same with BSL or ISL. It's the same with first aid. It's the same with what to do if you meet somebody who's had an epileptic seizure, or who has diabetic retinopathy, or what to do if somebody has a stamina, or what to do if somebody has dyslexia, or what to do if somebody needs, or has fibromyalgia, or whatever. If I could be reminded either the day before or 2 hours before I meet them, would that make it easier for me to give better customer service? And I maintain it is.
And
I'd have to
also,
agree.
sorry, specific as well, because you can have that thing, oh, this condition, people will need X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, no, maybe this person doesn't. Maybe there's other things going on that means something else is more helpful. But also, I think, certainly for things like train travel, sometimes you don't know what help you're going to need. Like, maybe you're overpacked and you just need someone to help you with your suitcase. That's completely valid, but it's not something you know a week in advance necessarily.
No, exactly. But we can do that. And we then, I mean, ultimately it's called Welcome, by the way. What Welcome does is it starts the conversation on a balanced relationship. You're actually meeting somebody who knows your name and knows what you look like, and you're expecting to meet them and they're expecting to meet you. And they start, because all we do with Welcome is we give a slight overview. If the person wants to share with them that they have epilepsy or whatever it might be, then there's an overview if you want to share. And then there's top tips on what you should do. Now, those top tips are really simple. Introduce yourself. Let's just imagine it's somebody with a guide dog, because obviously that's my area of expertise. You meet somebody with a guide dog, introduce yourself. Don't talk and say what your designation is. Hello, I'm Gavin. I'm the concierge here at the hotel. Absolutely perfect. How many people don't do that? Hardly anybody ever does that. Don't talk to the guide dog. Offer sighted guide, don't take their arm, wait for them to take your arm. Offer your arm if on the opposite side, mobility aid. Really simple stuff. If you're guiding them, don't say it's over there or it's over there. Say it's on the left or the right. And if you're leaving them, say you're going, so that they're not talking to thin air. Now, if every single person you ever met, if you were blind, knew that stuff, you're going to get better customer service. And that's all we do. Of course, we add in a little message like, at the library today, I'm really interested in Harry Potter audiobooks, in which case they're already aware that you're wanting Harry Potter audiobooks before you arrive. So when you arrive, they can go, Gavin, Harry Potter, it's me, Michael. I'm the librarian. I've put aside some amazing Harry Potter books for you. You've got the entire lot on audio, but you can pick and choose which ones you want. And Gavin goes, oh my God, this is amazing. And I think that's the key. Efficiency, everybody's more comfortable. Everybody feels that they're meeting a friend rather than having to explain what they need when they arrive somewhere.
And well, understanding people's needs and preparing for them.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah.
It
I like
really
it.
is an elegant solution.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump in again there. It's just how I roll. But since we're on elegant solutions, let's have a brief break for some spoonsful of loveliness. Here's some more elegant solutions to make your life easier.
Welcome to a space where ability isn't defined by energy levels or office hours. At Ablepreneurs, we believe that living with a disability or chronic illness doesn't erase your skills, it just means you need the right environment to shine. We connect talented individuals with small businesses who value flexible, trusted support. From remote admin to creative collaboration, we make sure opportunities fit real life. But we're more than just a platform, we're a community. A place to share, grow and build sustainable success stories together. If you're ready to work in a way that honours your health and your talent, visit ablepreneurs.co.uk and join the movement. At Whatmore & Co Accounting, we provide accessible first accounting, helping without jargon or judgment. We proudly support SME businesses, with a particular focus on those led by neurodivergent, disabled or otherwise marginalised individuals. Our clients trust us to deliver clarity, consistency and compassion in every service, from end-of-year accounts to tax planning and bookkeeping. As one client shared, Lawrence made it painless. They get it. No need to explain. Schedule your free consultation today on our website. Visit whatmoreandco.com today. Whatmore & Co, accounting that understands your business and your needs.
Anyway, welcome back to our episode on customer service for disabled people. And Gavin's just making us all sort of go ee a lot because simple, elegant solutions they are. So, more generalist, slightly. What are the sort of big three things people should think about when they're thinking about customer service?
Oh my word. Well, I'm the first one. Number one is you use a system. I'm not even going to mention welcome. You use a system that allows you to interact better with your customer. Now I'm going to mention welcome. Use welcome. It takes 2 hours to set up. It's free for the disabled person to use, and it costs a small amount of money for the business to be offering it. Okay, so I'll put that. Next, I would say understanding your customer by meeting them. When I say that, I don't mean just meeting them physically. I mean meeting them emotionally. And there are really good ways of doing that. It's having an internalized conversation within your company, realizing that potentially 20% of the people who come through the door are disabled people, and they are your customer. Understanding them is massively important. So yes, when your staff member joins your company, have an induction. But more than that, involve disabled people within that. Now, that can be bringing in a company that does staff training and the company are disabled people who are delivering the training, or it could be, and I would say it's not an either or, it's a both. Have an ERG within your company. Have people within your company who are disabled, because then you're going to be meeting those disabled people on a daily basis and understanding a little bit more about it. So if you run a hotel, make sure you're employing disabled people. Make sure you're open to employing disabled people, because that's going to help the people within your organization. Now, as far as the practical procedure of meeting a disabled person, I will always say, and it's a generalization, but for a reason, introduce yourself. Whether you've got welcome or not, introduce yourself and your designation, because the person you're speaking to is going to be able to praise you or indeed give you feedback if they know your name. So if your name's John, say, hello, my name is John. I'm the customer service representative here at Curry's, or wherever it might be. If you need anything, remember it's John. And when you leave, they say to you, yeah, it was great talking to you today. Remember, if you need anything at all, my name's John. It's been my pleasure helping you. Now, that's my top tip. Now, there's stuff within that that's specific to a particular condition. So, for instance, if somebody's deaf, make sure that you don't have a light source behind you. Because if they're lip reading and you've got a light source behind you, then you might actually put your lips into shadow so that they can't read your lips. Now, we put that as one of the tips that we have in the platform. Go and say that.
Cover your mouth.
I don't cover your mouth, but a lot of people do listen like this.
I used to work with someone, every time she spoke, she covered her mouth. And because we worked in quite a noisy environment, I had no idea what she was saying.
Yeah, but those tiny, tiny little things are so easy, but impossible to miss unless the disabled person goes, ooh, could you stop covering your mouth? Now, in that moment, you're turning an interaction into a teaching or learning environment, and they might not be at their most open in that moment to learn something new. They might just be wanting to move you on as a customer. They might be feeling embarrassed that they got something wrong. They might be just wanting to sort of get on with their day. They're certainly not going to be soaking up the information you give them. And also, it shouldn't be for disabled people to be training everybody that they meet. With welcome, they can, but they can do it in advance of meeting them. And that's the other beautiful thing about this system, is that if you walk through the door and you're using welcome, and I meet you as I'm a customer service representative, and you tell me something that's useful for all people, the next person who comes through the door, whether they're using welcome or not, I'm going to be more aware of that. And I was working with a chap, the manager at Curry's in Cork. And he said, we did an input. He was looking at welcome. He was using welcome. He said, you know what, Gavin, I met that customer and I put that into practice. But for the rest of the day, I was even more aware about whether somebody was disabled or whether I had to change how I was to meet their needs. So instead of training 2 years before, with welcome, you get trained every single time somebody comes through the door using the system, irrelevant of whether the disabled person is actually physically having to do any training.
Like that. It sounds like a really good system. So this came from the ideas that you had sort of from the guide dogs, and I can't remember what you said you did next, but whatever it was you did next, brain fog. But sort of the button.
Button was during the time that I was with guide dogs. Welcome happened when I left guide dogs, but it was in my mind that if I couldn't succeed with button, then I could succeed with welcome. And actually, in truth, Welcome seemed so much bigger. Nobody had
Yeah.
ever done it before. You can have customer service in a ferry, a cinema, a restaurant, a dental practice, a vet, a museum, an art gallery, a MSP constituency office. You can have it anywhere. So I was like, no, that's massive. And they didn't have it in North America or China or Australia or South Africa or Germany. They've not got it anywhere.
Yeah, it was just something nobody thought of, because like, you know, it's like they'll just tell us what I need, or you know, don't come out, stay in your house. I mean, apparently that's what we're meant to do anyway, but still.
No.
I might be a little bit grumpy.
No. Realistic. Experience tells us that if we're going to be discriminated against, we're less likely to want to go there again. If we're likely, and it's why everybody goes to restaurants they've been before, if they're recommending those restaurants to friends. You're not going to try a new restaurant with friends unless you're very clearly saying, we're going to go and try a new restaurant, this could be rubbish. If you're recommending a restaurant to friends, you go there because you know it's good service. Disabled people like going back to the same places because they get good service, but they shouldn't have to. They should be able to go anywhere and get good service.
I'd agree with that. Plus, you know, we're human, we get comfortable with a routine.
Yeah, but yeah, should be able to go anywhere.
Yeah, we should. I did have another question. It may have run off. Karen, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's what happens if the customer isn't sure what they need? So maybe they've never been in that situation before and they don't really know. Is there sort of any guidance on general things that might be helpful? Or
yeah, that's a really great question. So what we've found, and as you might imagine, because of my background, I'm really connected to the people who are using the platform. Ultimately, that's what I was doing as a mobility instructor. But it's worth noting that because we're in every single sector, so just a few, I mean, we're with Northlink Ferries have it in all of their ferry terminals. Currys have got it in all of their stores across Ireland. Westminster City Council have it in all of their libraries and all of their leisure centres. Coventry Council have it in all of their museums and art galleries and leisure centres. But we've also got it in restaurants, Glasgow Science Centre, Vindolanda Roman Fort, Silverstone Museum, just about to launch, or we will have launched, Bramley Hotel in Northern Ireland. So any venue can have welcome. So of course the use case is slightly different in every single venue, but ultimately this is about a communication. So when you set up a visit with welcome, you've already got your profile set up. So you've put in your face and your name. So this is what I look like. This is what I want you to call me. And then you could have put in a discrete general awareness, I'm a disabled person. Or you could put in, I have epilepsy and I'd like you to know a little bit more about what to do if I was to have a seizure. Or you could, I'm a guide dog owner. When I arrive, please do this, this, and this, and this. But there's also a free text. Now, in that free text, you can write what you want. I'm arriving today. It's my first visit to this cinema. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know where the accessible toilets are. If you could help me with those, that would be useful. I also need help getting to my seat on this occasion. I'm allergic to nuts, so I really do, but I would love some popcorn, and it would be great if that popcorn was allergy-free, whatever it might be. Now, I've managed to put in quite a lot of information about me specifically, and the staff member is going to get that immediately and go, ooh, we know a lot more information about that person before they turn up. And it's a communication, because the staff can then write back through the system and actually accept it or decline the visit or add to the visit to say, well, actually, this is something that we can or can't do, whatever it might be. But then there's a two-way communication. So for somebody that is maybe a little bit more nervous, there's an opportunity to have that conversation with the venue that you're going to. And of course, we're there all the time. People can contact us and say, help me with this, help me with that. And the venue's there to help with this and help with that. Also, within 24 hours after the visit, the visitor gets an email that says, how well did we do? And then they can fill in feedback that goes directly to the venue and the staff at the venue and their managers, and hold their feet to the flames, but also to me and my team at Welcome to say, how well did the venue do? And then we can feed back to the venue. So it's this cycle of feedback and use that means that we're holding people to the flames, but also, importantly, giving them an opportunity for praise. So Michael Meets Me does a brilliant job. It's no longer just disappearing into the ether. We can let Michael know he did a good job, and then Michael can feel even better about being in customer service.
So it's basically a continuous learning loop, plus a way to break the ice with someone where you're going somewhere. I find that the scariest bit. Once I've spoken to somebody, I'm all right, but it's that initial meet,
Yeah,
as it were.
you're so right, Joe. And I'll add to that, this isn't just about the disabled person. So let's just say a mother with a child who's autistic. The mother is knowing, she's aware that if she has to go to the shop today, there's no way out of it. She's got nothing else she's gonna have to take her daughter with her. I had this experience the other day. Somebody told me all about this. They know that there's a very good chance when they go to the shop that their child is going to have a meltdown of some sort. And they know that they're going to, and this is what happened. An older lady came up and pointed at the child and said, behave yourself, to the child. Now, that is kind of that old mentality of behave yourself in public. But of course, if you've got an autistic child and you're a parent of an autistic child, that could really damage you mentally. And you're going to go home and think, I'm not going to go to the shop again. I'd rather go without, or shop on Amazon and all the problems that come with that. But you could say, I have an autistic child. I'm coming in today. It'd be great if somebody here understood my needs. But of course, on top of that, you've also got the professional, the OT, the rehab worker, the physiotherapist, or whoever it might be, or the carer who's actually with the disabled person, who might not be able to use the technology. They might, but they might not be able to. They can actually put the visit in. When I arrive, ignore me totally. Please serve my client. Don't speak to me. Speak to my client. Because ultimately, what happens is when you have a champion on your shoulder as a disabled person, invariably the champion makes eye contact with the staff member. The staff member talks to the champion. The champion says, it's not me, it's them. The staff member feels like they want a hole to open up. The disabled person goes, what am I, chopped mince? And the champion goes, well, glad I was there. Otherwise, the world would be a worse place. And you kind of want to get rid of these champions to a certain extent, not completely, but let them take a back step. Let them just be there for support and get themselves out of the situation. When I went into shops, I would start looking around, do everything not to make eye contact with staff members, to force them to speak to my client. And they did. And then I observed how well they did. And then I was like, oh, okay, well done. Or you could do with this and this and this and this. So yeah, there are lots of different use cases.
It's very much this is the confident person, this is the person I'm going to talk to, or in some cases, this is the man, this is who I'm talking to. It's like, no, talk to this person.
When you're a guy, you don't notice it. When you're a woman, you really do. A friend of mine said to me, she was taking a car to the mechanics, and she said, she was non-disabled, but we both work for guide dogs. And we went to the mechanics. She said, Gavin, could you come with me? Because I think he's taken a loan of me. In Scotland, we say take a loan. I think he's taken the mickey. And when I got there and I was stood next to her, and she said to the mechanic, I would like this, this, and this. And he looked at me and said, right, what you need to do is this, this, and this. And I was like,
it happens in so many industries.
Oh my God. I was like, I've been oblivious. And suddenly I was like, damn it, this is not cool.
Like, right.
Yeah. We need to be much more aware of that.
It happens with disabled people. It's like this is the able-bodied person. This is the person I must be talking to.
That classic. Does she like sugar in her tea?
Oh, yes. Does he take sugar? Well, I want to avoid that. I want to be able to say, I'm arriving with my client. He takes sugar, but please ask him how he would like his coffee. And then when you go in, you stand back and the staff member talks to the disabled person, even if they can't communicate. It's like talking to a deaf person, even if they can't hear you, because the BSL interpreter interprets it. You don't talk to the BSL interpreter. Tell him this and this. You talk to the hearing impaired person or the BSL user and you say this, 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 and this, and they're watching the interpreter because they deserve you to talk to them directly. They're a sentient,
real human being.
Real human being. And that was part of this as well. And the parent who goes into the shop, who knows that they're with a child who has never really done this stuff themselves. They're worried about the child being independent, and they think to themselves, I have to progress. I could wait for an occupational therapist to come and help me, or a rehab worker, but I don't have time and they don't have time and it's difficult to get the work and help. What if I go in myself and I say on this app, please talk to Michael, you're wanting to buy some Adidas trainers. And then Michael goes, oh yeah. And the staff member goes, hi there, Michael, you're wanting to buy some Adidas trainers. And Michael goes, yeah, I reckon I could do this on my own next time. And the parent goes, I'll stand at the door next time. I'll arrive and they'll talk to you and not me. And then the next time I'll wait outside the shop. And when you come out, I'll be waiting for you. And the next time I'll be at home, make your own way to the shop. And then you've progressed from dependence to independence, or at least the choice for independence. I get really passionate about this stuff.
That is like an amazing thought. That sort of that timeline of giving somebody the confidence to go, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't
And,
happen
the
overnight.
basics of customer service is treating someone like a real human being.
Because they are.
Yeah.
Because they are. Yeah, totally get it. Yeah, we're on the same page.
What are good questions to ask if you're a business owner? Because sometimes you go, are you okay? And people go, yes. What's a better question to ask to get people to sort of open up a bit or think about what they need potentially?
It's a really super question. I think I could say, here's a better question. I think the best thing is to approach letting them know who you are and your designation, because that then gives them the opportunity to ask the question. If you go up to a disabled person and say, how can I help you today? Who the hell are you? I mean, it happens to people who are trying to cross the road. Can I help you across the road? I have no idea who I'm talking to. It could be anybody. If you say, hi, I'm a traffic warden, and I noticed you were struggling at this pedestrian crossing, or it's really busy today. Is there anything I can do to help you? My name's John. You go, oh yeah, John, it'd be really good. Or no, John, I don't need any help. So I don't want to prescribe the best way to help somebody. What I want to do is say, if you know people, if you've exchanged information about who you are, it becomes human. It becomes human and we become friends. Imagine for a second, you're getting on a bus and there's a seat at the very back of the bus, but everywhere's full. Imagine for a second you knew 100% everybody's name on that bus. As you walked up the aisle of the bus, you would go, Michael, Mrs. Smith, James, Fred. You'd virtually high five everybody. You'd be like, because you knew their names, you'd be smiling at everybody. You'd be aware. And what we're doing is we're doing at the very most basic, we're giving people each other's names. We're letting them know who each other are. And from there, humans can be humans. And of course, we can add a little bit more in, like if I have a seizure while I'm here. Oh, in fact, that's worth mentioning. All of the information we share, we don't make it up. All the information we share, we go to all the charities that are involved in it. So we got all the information we needed for guide dogs from Guide Dogs to the Blind, RNIB, RNID, MS Trust, Alzheimer's UK, Ataxia UK, Headway Ireland gave us the information for acquired brain injury. All of the information we share, videos and the rest of it, there's a brilliant one for Epilepsy Action, from Epilepsy Action about first aid for epilepsy. All of the information we share is information that we get from charities, and we do it all for free. We don't charge the charities a penny for giving them, putting their information in the hands of staff.
The correct response is not, oh, down again, which I did to a friend, but that's because he was a friend.
I think with friends, you can get away with pretty much anything.
Yeah, bring stuff out the way. Anyway, that's all the questions I have for you for now. Karen, would you like to wrap us up?
I shall wrap us up in a big bow, optional, of course, but I'm always a fan of them. So, Gavin, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all that lovely, tasty information. Is there anything you'd like to plug, promote, raise awareness of, other?
Well, other than welcome, I would say always add a +1 to every Disability Awareness Day if you're a business. Always be thinking the most important day after an awareness day is the day after the awareness day, and the day after that, and the day after that. It is not something that you can shout about on the day and think your work is done. We're just about to go into, another year of disability awareness, and I want people to be thinking about disability awareness every single day. And I would also say, obviously, if people want to join Welcome, it's totally free. You don't pay a penny. We don't need to know where you live. We don't need your credit card details. All we need to know is your name and your email address, and then we can help you get better customer service. And all the information about how to join is going to be somewhere in that script underneath here or above here or wherever you guys are going to put it.
It'll be there. Yeah, no, that's
It'll be somewhere.
It'll be there through the wonders of technology. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing all your wonderful knowledge, because
it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you to you for joining us for 3Spoonies on better customer service for disabled people. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for our weekly podcast and leave us a nice review. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. All the links, as we've said, will be in the show notes, and they'll even be right. We'll see you next week for our community questions. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.